Hello, everyone. My name is Tariq, and this will be the first video of me taking responsibility and trying to embrace what I know is destined within me. And basically, it's just a quick rundown of who I am right now. Is just a nobody, regular human being who has found something that he would like to share with other human beings. And I come from a basically pretty strong Christian faith background. And my knowledge in the Bible is not deep, but just enough for me. But I am a revert who has came back to the natural way of life and is now a practicing Muslim. And I know for people to hear about Islam and then even pick up a Quran and even try to read it is a very, very difficult thing coming from a Christian background, right? You feel like we're traitors. If we even look outside of our Bible, we're being a traitor. We're a traitor. Or it's the devil. This is how we was this is how we was raised to believe anyway, in a typical Christian background family household, right? Don't pick up that devil's work and stuff like that of that nature. So it's hard for a lot of us to even pick up the Quran and see what the Quran is about, right? So what I want to do is I want to use the Bible to point out a lot of things and explain a lot of things to a lot of people. All right. So we are raised that the Bible is, coming from a Christian perspective, is the word of God, is the book of God. What gives a book a criteria to be a book of God, right? Just a few rundown basics. Truths, no lies, no contradictions, and no confusion. That's just some of the standards that will make something, that will actually give something where it can stand as it being a truth from God. And one of the important things we're going to say, two of the important things is contradictions and authenticity. Authenticity is another one. We're going to throw that in there, right? How authentic is the Bible? Let's go into that, right? The authenticity of the Bible, of the complete Bible as a whole, as we know it, from Genesis to Revelation, is the oldest one that we know in history, comes 400 years after my dear beloved Jesus, may the peace and blessings of God be upon him, came with his message, with the gospel, the Injil, the gospel of Jesus. 400 years after Jesus is the earliest known fully complete Bible that we have. Now, I just want to leave that right there and let that sit on your head for a second. Now, when I all state these things, right? This is dead. I want you to know that if I state something I'm gonna let you know that it's a fact, and you can go check it yourself. So you can go check that out yourself. You could go see what is the oldest complete. Now, we do have texts and scriptures that date back to, the prophets that came before Jesus, the scrolls of Abraham, Sophia Abraham, the scrolls of Abraham, and things like that. So we do have things of that nature, but as far as the Bible, as we know, the complete text, with the where I'm going to say for a lot of people, the confusion came in, right? In the New Testament and the Gospel, right? In the Old Testament and New Testament, the Gospel, basically. The oldest one we know of is 400 years after Christ. So that right there just raises awareness, a level of awareness in a reader to how authentic is something that was the oldest manuscript we have is 400 years after our messenger of the time. But that's really neither here nor there. We're still going to get into things that come from that may have been in the scriptures, because what we know what the Bible is, it's scriptures from the beginning of time, basically, until the end of what Christians believe is the end of prophecy, would end it with Jesus. Peace and blessings of God be upon him. So, even delving into some of them older scriptures, we will see that there's some things that need to truly be explained and not be explained to where you want to hoodwink me, or you just want me to believe anything you tell me, or anything you say to me, and then use another contradicting verse that's contradicting this verse, and use that verse to explain this verse. That's confusion, because there shouldn't be no verse contradicting another verse if it is the true word of God. If it says one thing here and then it explains the same thing somewhere else, it's going to say the exact same thing somewhere else. It's not going to be flip-flopped and twisted and what's the name, as people would want you to believe it. But you got to see this from your own eyes. You have to open your own eyes and see this from your own perspective. So the first thing what I want to try to explain is the oneness of our Creator. And in doing that, using the Bible and the oneness of his worship. And I'm going to do that using the Bible and the Bible verses. And the first thing I want to start with, and I'm going to use the King James Version, because growing up when I was in the church, I grew up under the King James Version, and I was heavy in the church. Just to give a little brief from my church background, like my mother was a pastor or ordained minister. I know she was ordained. She was, let's just say this, like at the age of maybe like 12, 13, as a child, I had to prepare sermons and do sermons, right? I had to preach in front of the church. We had like kids week, and church went the same. Our church was small. Church went the same process, boom, 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 all the stuff that I never liked, the singing and all of this, and then when it was time for the preacher to get up there, one of the children had to do it. So I had my fair share of preparing sermons at a young age and studying the Bible and Sunday school and all of this stuff at a young age. So I fairly had a decent understanding of the Bible. And I still do have a fairly decent understanding of the Bible, to where you can't just tell me anything and I'm just going to accept it. So the first thing we're going to go into is the first of the 10 commandments. The first of the 10 commandments, that's it. And we're going to, for today, I think that's exactly where we're going to stop at the first commandment. We're going to go into it, and then we're just going to end it there, for you can just have something to ponder on about the oneness of our Creator and the oneness of His worship, right? Later on, we're going to get into some things that is probably going to start confusing you, but this is going to be our ground to avoid the confusion, right? Or to try to stay grounded away from the confusion, to understand, right? This is going to be our ground verse.